Choose between sight or sound. Sound, of course. A musician's choice should be sound, just as a painter's salvation should be sight. To perceive aesthetics, I would rather be blind and hear than to see without hearing. I believe sound is the most important thing in the world, and not just to hear music, but down to the fundamental micro of vibrations themselves. In my own opinion, sight has nowhere near the amount of treasure that sound has. The beauty of art is a treat, but comes secondary to the foundational necessity of sound. Most religious stories begin with sound. Take the common story of the Christ. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis 2, the earth was out of form and void. Then the third verse, and let's remind ourselves, it is called a verse. And what does the word verse mean, and where do we find verses? Verse 3, God said, "Let there be light." After the voidless heavens and the earth, next is a word, a vibration, a sound. God said, and his vibratory command brings forth light. How appropriate is that? That vibration grants us the ability to see, and ultimately, this sound gives the shape to the formless heavens and earth. And if you're not religious, there are plenty of scientific examples. When a sperm goes into an egg and starts to grow, the first sensory faculty we grow is the inner ear, and then around that the person grows, and the other sense faculties join weeks and months later, which is curious. Or the idea that we have many more connections to the brain through the ears, even more so than the eyes, and those auditory connections flow all the way through us to our feet. Even chemistry contains a law of octaves, where group of elements are arranged into scale-like categories, and you have to wonder which came first. Maybe you're not religious or scientific, you're more a man of reason or logic or rhetoric. Well, there are plenty of lines to borrow from endless sources, but take Damon of Athens, who was the musical teacher of Socrates, whom all logical men seem to worship today. Damon said music was so important that the introduction of a new scale would endanger the future of a whole nation. He said it wasn't possible to alter a key without shaking the whole foundations of a state. Of course, times have changed, but I believe we can still find traces of this present in modern day. One example would be 1913 Paris, when Stravinsky debuted his Rite of Spring Ballet. The audience is said to have erupted into a riotous mob, or the joy and love and peace of Woodstock '69. And fast forward to the second Woodstock in '99, and the anger, the contempt, the fires, and the assaults. Sound has a mysterious power, but say you don't belong wholesale to any one specific tribe of religion, of science, of logic. Perhaps you meander about through all, and you're a curious type, into the mysteries, perhaps an initiate even. The essential read, that is the Kabbalion, says, nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. So when Hermes creates the first lyre by stretching strings across a turtle shell, you get the image of the Trinity. The triad is the man with the lyre. Manly Hall says, in the mysteries, the lyre represented the human constitution. The body of the instrument was the physical body, the strings the nerves, and the musician that played the instrument was the spirit, and that was Thoth. Later it was Pythagoras who said music and math were the only universal languages. David, the king of Israel, always pictured with the harp he played for King Saul to drive away demons. Today we think of music as something to play in headphones while we're in the gym, or something in the background as we drive our vehicles, but I think it's a grossly understudied and tragically underutilized science. I notice us moving it away from an auditory appreciation and toward a visual overload. Our Western societies are almost exclusively visual, and I think this is a huge hurdle for me personally because I have a lot less enthusiasm about a visual world. I believe we have eyelids for a reason. because sometimes they must be closed. In fact, we must close them, and often, or we die. That's sleep. We can turn off our vision. The mouth can be clenched shut to avoid taste, or used to breathe and negate the sense of smell through the nose. We can turn off these senses, but there is no turning the ears off. Even when we plug them still, we hear vibration. We always hear.
I was right. The sun was shining over the field. I got a feeling I just can't shake. I got a feeling that just won't go away. You've gotta just keep on pushing, keep on pushing, push the sky away. And if your friends think that you should do it different, and if your friends think that you should do the same, you've gotta just keep on pushing, keep on pushing, push the sky away. And if you think you got everything you came for, if you got everything and you don't want no more, you've gotta just keep on pushing, keep on pushing, push the sky away. Some people say that it's just rock and roll. Oh, but it gets you right down to your soul. You've gotta just keep on pushing, keep on pushing, push the sky away. Thank you very much.
So apparently a food restaurateur here in Ottawa caused me some food poisoning. So even the restaurateurs are trying to stifle my freedom of speech because I almost didn't make it to this session. So what are some strategies for stifling opposing opinions? If you live in a dictatorship, then of course you just kill the intellectuals. Those who oppose you, you get rid of them. If you are unable to implement such a strategy, then you perhaps have some hate speech laws or some campus speech codes. And of course, what flows from that is the third way to stifle people is to create an environment that is sufficiently ominous that people engage in self-censorship. This picture right here is worth 1,000 words. It basically says we condemn freedom of speech that hurts other people's feelings. What I'm going to do for the rest of today's lecture is simply read to you first-person accounts of emails that I receive. I receive these, and they're innumerable how many I receive, where either students, professors, parents are writing to me to document the stuff that they are facing on campuses. And the best way to actually show you this is to just read a bunch of them. So bear with me as I actually go through about 7 or 8 of these. The clock, by the way, is not working, so I don't know how much time we have, but I'll assume we're okay. So here is student testimony example 1. I'm a 47-year-old white male who, because of an injury, made a choice to return to school. Sadly, it looks like my path through university is going to be interrupted. In the first year, to maintain full-time status, I'm forced to take another social justice, Black Lives Matter course. The challenge is students are not allowed to challenge or question the course content because that's considered disrespectful and may disrupt someone's safe space. I believe I'm a respectful student with good attendance and whose marks average in the mid-80s. That said, after a few weeks of the one-sided syllabus, I'm considering dropping out of the program and leaving school entirely. This leftist academic world is a little too much for me. Testimony 2. Today we had a panel discussion on the Quebec City shooting with 2 historians and 2 sociologists, where I was told with solemn, moral, righteous tone that there is no such thing as good and bad immigrants. My heart was racing and my teeth were clenched, and grinding listening to this. Finally, despite my heart beating out of my chest, I asked a question. How do you, the panel, interpret Charlie Hebdo, the Danish cartoon, ISIS, Salman Rushdie, and the Bataclan shootings? The denial of individual responsibility and complete disregard for any value-based interpretation was off the table. I think I screwed myself because I'm pretty sure my professor is, let's say, quite suspicious of me now. Because this person aired his opinion, he knows that he's in trouble. I just feel really alone, but the thought of restoring strength, tolerance, and diversity of thought to the university really keeps me going. Today just really proved to me that I'm up against and how alone I am. What can I do? I'm reaching out to you in the hopes that the Godfather, that's yours truly, would be able to help direct my future research projects, since most professors and required courses I have to take seem to be run by social justice warriors feigning intellectualism. The reason I'm contacting you is because as an honors cognitive student, part of my requirements is to complete 12 credits worth of individual research. However, because of purely political reasons, I'm apparently a violent, misogynist, racist Trump supporter. I have not only lost my job at a prestigious behavioral neuroscience laboratory, I hid the identity at YYY, but my name has been removed from the publication on research I personally conducted, and the lead researcher told me that he would never work with me again. This is not North Korea. This is Canada. This is the US. Help. I'm a 4th-year student in a 5-year teaching program. I'll be heading to YYY next year for my 1 year of Teachers College. Only recently have I realized the radical left-wing messages embedded in virtually all of my classes, and I know that it will only get worse at the school in question. What can I do about this? How do I stand up for the truth without risking my career as an elementary school teacher? Thank you. Let's move on to some faculty. Those were all students. I very much appreciate your courage to fight the cancer that is taking over American academia. People like me feel cheated in their attempt to pursue a tenure track career. It only takes a glimpse to the job offerings that the Modern Language Association publishes each year to understand what is expected from recent graduates like me. It is political activism, and I refuse to mix that with my academic interests. I will save you my long stories of dealing and suffering career-wise from politically correct nonsense from the directions of feminism, gender ideology, trans extremism, and Islamophilia. I am trying to keep a lid on things for now, as my wife is a very promising academic but hasn't secured a position yet. I know that if I started voicing my thoughts and arguments on social media, she'd be completely shut out of the academy. If she does secure a tenure-track spot, I'm off to the races, and you and others would see that I'm an ally to take notice of, seriously. I am more than happy to transition out of philosophy at this point, which has become a virtue-signaling competition. As a fellow professor who has been frustrated by the discourse within academia on issues such as political correctness, moral relativism, and social justice, I'd like to thank you for speaking up the way you have been from within academia. While my training and research is further removed from social issues than yours, I have nevertheless been frustrated by the conformism and groupthink I see and hear around me. I see otherwise very reasonable and capable people abandoning reason and cowing to the narrative of the regressive left on many social issues. These are all things which I would like to get involved in once the tenure decision is behind me, about 1 year to go. As upsetting as it is, one fears expressing unpopular social ideas prior to tenure. In the meantime, please keep fighting the good fight for freedom of speech and against thought policing and orthodoxy. Almost done. I won't read this whole one, but basically this person writes to me thanking me for my conversation with Sam Harris, agreeing with some of the issues that I raised regarding some, issues dealing with Islam. But then look at the bottom, he says, if you decide to mention this information in your videos, I would ask that you do so without mentioning my name. I do not have tenure yet. This is from this is the last testimony, and then I'll wrap up. This is from a parent of a high school student. I recently received an email from my son's school district that they are going to be screening a film called I'm Not Racist, Am I?, as an in-school field trip at the end of January for high school students. I did some preliminary research on this, and I'm absolutely appalled at the content of the movie. Based on the descriptions, the trailer, and additional material surrounding it, it appears to be a feature-length film pushing the agendas of white privilege, institutional racism, and white people are the problem. It scares me beyond belief that they are attempting to foist these ideas on developing minds. And now, of course, the usual request that they be anonymous. For reference, my son is a junior at XXX. I have included the original email as well as the PDF of the communication that was sent out. If it is something you feel should be shared with others, I only ask that you keep identifiable information for my son or myself out for our safety. This is not North Korea. For his safety. I'm sure you understand. So, to conclude, freedom of speech is everything. And I should know I come from the Middle East. I escaped that which you don't want to have replicate here in Canada. So no more language police, no more thought police, no more echo chambers that shun intellectual diversity, no more identity politics, no more culture of offense and the ethos of perpetual victimhood, no microaggressions, no trigger warnings, no safe spaces, and no cultural appropriation. Science, reason, and logic trump ideology and feelings. Thank you very much.
Welcome to America, where everything is made in China. Where a girl can have a penis and the boys can have vaginas. Where people purchase guns and go to school to open fire, and our government manipulates the truth trying to divide us. Welcome to the democratic USA. You're homophobic and racist if you ain't black or gay. Where the stars and the stripes, they go up in flames, but every classroom in the country has a rainbow flag. It's the land of opportunity, where natural immunity don't matter when Big Pharma has a cure to sell to you and me. Welcome to the home of the woke. We're going broke. You'll get canceled for a joke by folks who voted for Joe. Where our freedom isn't free, it's being held for ransom. Where we'd all be locked away if people didn't have guns. Where our only information is their propaganda. Everybody please rise for the national anthem. You ain't gonna shut me up. You gonna have to kill me and cut out my tongue. You ain't gonna shut me up. I'll be saying what I want at the top of my lungs. You ain't gonna shut me up. You gonna hear what I say till I'm 6 feet deep. You ain't gonna shut me up. You can hate all you want, I got freedom of speech, and you ain't gonna gonna shut me up. Welcome to America, used to be the home of the brave. I love my country, fuck the government, I won't be a slave. You voted today, so what? They just threw your vote away. Trump won, but they stole it, put a clone in his place. Jesus, why they keep pushing mental diseases? Please, can a real woman not have a penis? A fetus alive till you keep it from breathing. You just took a life like they taking our freedom. Think about the words that we all used to say, but the men today act more pussy than the ladies. You can't hurt my feelings, I was born in the 80s. Shout out to the women, only they can have babies. Dudes wear dresses now and try to call it normal. Why they use the women's restroom and not a urinal? It's so sad to hear about these young kids' lives. Fuck a pedophile, school shooter, hope they all die. You ain't gon' shut me up. You gon' have to kill me or cut out my tongue. You ain't gon' shut me up. I'll be saying what I want at the top of my lungs. You ain't gon' shut me up. You gon' hear what I say till I'm 6 feet deep. You ain't gon' shut me up. You can hate all you want, I got freedom of speech, and you ain't gonna shut me up. Even if we disagree, I'll die for your right to have your voice heard when you're speaking your mind. Even if you're saying things and I think you're lying, I will fight so you'll never be silenced. Even if you're yelling in my face, calling me a bunch of names, claiming that I'm full of hate, that's okay. I will stand by your side in support of you, cause I believe in free speech for the morons too. You ain't gon' shut me up. You gon' have to kill me or cut out my tongue. You ain't gon' shut me up. I'll be saying what I want at the top of my lungs. You ain't gon' shut me up. You gon' hear what I say till I'm 6 feet deep. You ain't gon' shut me up. You can hate all you want, I got freedom of speech, and you ain't gonna shut me up.